let's talk more around the legalities around this rejection by the Competition Commission. I'm joined by Xolani Nyali, who's a partner at Bowman's. Many thanks for your time this evening. Let's start with your thoughts on this decision from a legal standing. Certainly not something we've heard the Competition Commission do, certainly in recent years.
Thanks, Rafiwa, and good evening to your viewers. From a legal perspective, what the Commission has done is, of course, perfectly legal. There are provisions in the Competition Act which require the Commission to assess not only the competition impact of a merger, but also the public interest impact. And from a public interest perspective, it is one of the relevant factors to assess is whether that merger will promote a greater spread of ownership, in particular by workers and historically disadvantaged persons. And in this case, as you've noted in your introduction, there was a reduction that would occur in the black ownership of the two target entities, being Burger King South Africa and Grand Foods, which would be down from 68% approximate to basically 0%, because the acquiring private equity fund was an American entity, which obviously would not have HDP shareholders.
It's quite complicated, this, because on the one side, when we talk about public interest, we speak about that ownership that the Competition Commission mentioned as the basis of the rejection. But they also did highlight in the same breath that jobs wouldn't be affected. And would it not be in a situation where if Grand Parade were to appeal, they use that as a means of argument to say, well, you know, jobs were not going to be affected, and currently the economy needs that more than ownership?
Correct. I mean, employment is another public interest factor, right? And so to the extent that Grand Parade and, of course, the buyer of Burger King and Grand Foods would want to appeal, which I think they would be well justified to do so, because I do think there are some serious ramifications about this decision that would warrant a court ventilating and having some views on this. But I suppose to the extent that Grand Parade and ECP private equity were to say, well, the merger would have no impact on employment, then the Commission says, thank you, we'll take that and bank it in our back pocket, but you still haven't given us a credible response to our concern on shareholding. Now, if I may quickly just point out that, of course, Grand Parade and ECP turn around and say, hang on, but we provided you with so many other public interest undertakings in lieu of simply shareholding. We undertook to create employment, 1,250 HDPs that we said we are going to employ. We also said we'll open up new Burger King franchise up to 150 stores that will spend 665 million on buying from HDP or BEE empowered suppliers. We will spend another 500 million rand in South Africa just capex over the next couple of years. Now, if you look at all those commitments put together, they more than double the price that Grand Parade itself would obtain from the sale of these two businesses. So there's a net gain, really, to our country. And I suppose to the extent that this goes on appeal, that is what would anchor a Grand Parade appeal. And, of course, the Commission and the Minister of Trade and Industry, who, of course, is also an interested party, would then have to weigh up what that means for the country and the workers that would potentially benefit, versus the raw sort of and rather blunt chasing of just equity shareholding.
Very, very interesting insights. There's so much more to discuss, particularly when it comes to this appeal process and really how the Department of the Economy would play a role in this particular decision. But I'm sure we'll catch up very soon around that appeal. Xolani Nyali, who's a partner at Bowman's, giving us insights around the legalities of that rejection by the Competition Commission of the sale of Burger King and Grand Meats. Let's take a quick